helps farmers and agribusinesses make more money today while adopting practices to build healthier soil, helping to increase land value for years to come. With flexible sustainability products and programs, farmers can choose to participate in the programs that will drive the most revenue for their operation.
Good evening and welcome to Rural America Live. I'm Christina Loren. Indigo Ag is the leader in sustainable agriculture solutions, leveraging the most advanced science and technology to deliver proven products and programs like biological seed treatments, carbon credits, and sustainable crop production, turning sustainable practices into value for farmers just like you. Tonight, one lucky on-air caller has the chance to win a Nomad charcoal barbecue grill and smoker. It retails at $695. The 28-pound carrying case houses 2 heavy-duty die-cast cook boxes and delivers up to 425 square inches of grilling space. This could be yours tonight. All you have to do is call in and ask our panelists a question. It's so easy. Stay tuned. We're going to put that number on your screen in just a few moments. But before we get there, I'd like to welcome our guest tonight. And we have a lot to cover. This is going to be a highly informative show. We welcome Indigo Ag CEO Dean Banks and Oklahoma farmer Tom Cannon. Thank you both so much for being with us.
Thanks, Christina.
We're excited to talk more about what Indigo Ag can offer you on your operation. Dean, you're Indigo Ag's new CEO. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you arrived at Indigo Ag.
Sure, Christina. Thank you. Thank you for putting on a great show. Certainly love your show. And thanks for all your listeners and viewers for joining in. Really a lot of affinity for what you all do and go do every day. And I'm grateful to be here and also offer ways that we can hopefully help. My background, really starts at the farm. So my dad grew up on a farm in Kentucky and moved to do factory work at General Motors in Dayton, Ohio. And that's where I spent most of my life. But we spent almost all my weekends and summers going back to the farm, helping out. It was a tobacco farm when I was a kid. And then we had a sustenance farm. And, through my career, I've gone into healthcare, life sciences, where I look at biological technology. I've done deep technology at Google, where we've taken advanced technology and integrated into a variety of areas and practices. And then I made the step into being CEO of Tyson Foods, which was my first step back towards the farm. And you can get a bit from the pictures here. The values that I was kind of raised with, here we are on the front porch. Now, for all of you who have one, you know that this is really the epicenter of conversation on the farm, and there's a good view down the hauler, which, brings a smile to my face to remember. And then this is a really fun picture. I know that we used a tractor for quite a bit of work on the farm, but my grandpa, we call him Papaw, drove a plow with these 2 horses, Fred and Smokey, into the early 80s. And, one of the things that Indigo proposes into growing your crops more sustainably is no-till. And so I often think of Fred and Smokey and what a nice retirement package Indigo would have offered them. And then here you get a picture of my Papaw on the farm in front of a barn that's now fallen, and my dad standing next to him. And it's really cool to go back to the farm with my dad because he grew up there, and you just see his face light up when we get close. And this was a trip where we drove down together. The farm's dormant now. My aunt's a missionary. She lives there, and she still runs a small sustenance farm. And she's actually a missionary in China, and since she's been kicked out a few times, she runs a school teaching Chinese arithmetic and Mandarin and helping kids in China prosper. And so she runs that from the farm in Kentucky. So it's still delivering value. Indigo was really appealing to me when I was at Tyson Foods and I left. I thought I was retiring. I joined the board at Indigo because I was looking for solutions for a lot of the things that I wanted to see happen while I was at Tyson. And I got to know the company through serving on the board and the products and the science and technology and the customers, and had just such a warm experience, and think that both the work that you all do every day and the work that Indigo is doing is such a symphony, and I think it just needs to continue to grow together. I asked Tom to join us on the show because I met him really early in my board work and just really inspired me in how you thought about farming and what you've done with Indigo and on your own even before Indigo.
Well, thank you for having me here also. I really, really appreciate RFDTV and what they do for agriculture. What they did for FFA last week, awesome. Big thumbs up for that. A little bit about ourselves. It's Goodson Ranch in Blackwell, Oklahoma, north central Oklahoma. We're a cattle operation along with corn, soybeans, cotton, lots of cover crops. We've been no-till for a long time. I got to do a quick shout out to my family, to my wife, Laurie, my kids, Jacob, Reagan, Rachel, and Reese. And Reese is also a missionary, by the way. She's in Africa right now. She's my youngest. And all of my kids help on the farm. And Jacob has been on the farm since he left high school. Reagan, for the most part, has also, and so has Rachel. So it's really kind of encouraging to know that they want to come back and continue a legacy that's now 4 generations strong. But that direction had to change back whenever I was young. I was around 25. I was going to school. My dad had a bad wreck that was quickly followed by leukemia and then Alzheimer's. And because of that, I had to come back to the farm, and I never really had an opportunity to go back to school. When I was in school, I was in biology. I wanted to be a biochemist. And how interesting is it that now, all these years later, that's exactly what I do, because I've found a partner that I can come alongside through Biottrinsics and through the carbon program, and even through Source some, and then expand on what I've been trying to learn kind of on my own for a long time. So I really appreciate Indigo, and I really appreciate this opportunity to share a little bit about what's made our operation successful.
I'm super excited to know more about the background of both of you. If we can get that picture back up on the screen one more time of your papa and your father together, because this is huge. You remember what that pipe smelled like?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, my favorite smell was walking into the barn while the tobacco was drying. When I was in college, I would tear tobacco. Every time I'd go visit the farm, I'd tear it off and hang it in my room so it had that smell.
Well, how would he feel about the work, your papa, the work that you're doing today? Because his farm looks a whole lot different than the farm of today, but it's so important to talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight for the farm of the future as well. Talk about some of the differences there.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'll be honest. I think the first thing he would say is, I don't know anything about this newfangled sustainability stuff, And then
back in my day, I didn't have any of that fancy auto steer.
Well, and then we'd probably talk about it a while, and my papa's just a fantastic human being. He would probably finish with something like, well, if it's the right thing to do, then we probably need to just get on with it. We're not going to debate whether or not we're going to do it. We're just going to debate how. And I think a lot of the things that Tom's been able to do, and a lot of your viewers have been able to do with their farms, Indigo wants to make that easier, make everyone more successful. So thanks for asking. That's really touching.
Absolutely. No, these are stories that people who are listening, who are watching right now can absolutely relate to. And Tom, talk about how working with Indigo has brought value to your farm, because you can actually quantify the difference that it's made.
Oh, absolutely, I can. I'm going to step back just a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about how Indigo kind of got started in some of their Biottrinsics, because that was kind of foundational for the company. And it's something that I use a lot today. I use it on virtually every acre of soybeans, for instance. And I'm using a biological product that they supply to me that isn't something that they created. Really, God created that. That is something that they went out and found and figured out a way to leverage that biology and then spread it over more acres. But the real credit has to go to our creator. And in that, I came and I went to a meeting and I was listening to a pitch. And in that pitch, they talked about their mission statement. And it is harnessing nature to help farmers sustainably feed the planet. And that's really what they were doing at that time. They're doing much more now. But at that time, that was kind of the key focus. And I thought, that is something I can get behind. That is something that I really like. And they're helping farmers enhance profitability and soil health. That's what I was doing. So many similarities. And then they want to incentivize sustainable land stewardship practices, which is what I was already doing anyway. So let's find out how to incentivize that, and let's come together. I can learn more because they've got so much research and so much behind them that they can teach me maybe where I'm not quite measuring up. And I really, really appreciate that.
Well, if I can add, the earliest days of Indigo, Tom, to your point, I was having breakfast with someone about 12 years ago when I was starting life sciences companies in Boston, and I had breakfast with one of the founders. And he started telling me about the microbiome and how our guts all have bacteria in it that eat our food and then produce things that are good for us, for the most part, unless bad bacteria gets in there. And he was telling me how they were going out into fields and they were looking at fields that were either decimated. They were decimated by either drought or nematodes or, a variety of other stresses.
Right.
And what they would do is look for these fields that have been decimated. And there's always, 5 or 10 plants out there that were thriving. And they dig them up and they would look at what's existing inside the plant and then what's existing in the soil. And they were looking at the microbiome of the plant. And when they found out what was missing, they could memorialize that and capture it and replicate it and then coat seeds with it so it could do drought stress prevention or nematicide.
Very interesting and a great description. For those who may not be involved in the ag industry, you really broke it down scientifically in a way that we can all understand. And farmers are looking for ways to be profitable. They're looking for any way that they can this day and age. Yep. We've been watching the commodity prices. It's hard to catch a break. It's hard to plan for the future. But you're talking about planning for the future decades down the line and leaving your farm in a much better position than you received it for your kids.
To speak to that, whenever I started making some of these changes that weren't my ideas, I went to some other deals and I came to and talked to Indigo, but to make those changes, I really had to think about the future of our farm. We'd spent 100 years at the Goodson Ranch through tillage and other practices, using the best practices that we knew of. My great-grandmother won the Governor's Conservation Award. My dad won the Governor's Conservation Award, using improved practices that he had learned over time. And since that time, I have now won the Governor's Conservation Award in Oklahoma. All using the best practices we can, but the first 100 years, we did degrade that soil through different things, wind erosion, different things that were caused mainly by tillage. So we've spent the last 25 years trying to reverse that. And part of that, we're talking catastrophic events would take place, and then to find biology that can come in and we can put on that seed to help correct some of those problems, it's amazing.
It's biologicals, right? This is the product that we're talking about in particular. Maybe you have a question about it. We want to hear from you tonight. We're going to give that number out in just a moment. You can call in and potentially win. Actually, they've given me the green light, gentlemen. We're going to give out the number now. You can call in, ask your question, and potentially win that grill. 877-731-6733 is the number to call. If someone was interested in biologicals, this is kind of the origin of how Indigo Ag got started and where the growth has really occurred. Talk more about why farmers should pay more attention to biologicals.
Well, I'll let Tom answer this because I think people really want to hear from them. But I would say that we have found a win-win, that when you treat your seeds with these biologicals, you end up with a more diverse soil bacteria, which is ultimately a good thing. And that leads to sustainability in a totally different way. You generally get more crop yield. And we'll show some numbers in a little bit of even the things that were designed to just help with nematodes or drought stress. They end up yielding a little more crop. And then you, if you yield a little more crop, maybe you can issue a carbon credit. Maybe you can sell that in the market for better margin. And then if you decide to participate in sustainability programs, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you've got another revenue stream. I know that a lot of the farmers operate on razor thin margins, and the things that we offer, we've learned as much about where they work as where they don't. And so if you go to your retailer and you ask, if you reach out to one of your partners, they'll be able to help. Or if you come to Indigo, we have a team of agronomists. You'll get to meet one here in a little bit to help you. But I think it's usually best to just hear from the folks that are actually using it.
You bet. I would speak specifically to one product that I've used on every acre, and that has to do with soybeans. It's M34N13. It has many different types of biology in there. But specifically, I looked at this because of the rhizobia bacteria. And those that don't farm need to understand, but that is the bacteria you put on soybeans where it can create its own nitrogen. It can pull nitrogen out of the air and then form new nitrogen right there on the roots and then, feed itself. Well, the Indigo product has 3 different strains of rhizobia. And most of the times whenever you buy rhizobia to inoculate your soybeans, you might get 1 or 2. Well, they have premium strains, and there are different strains of rhizobia. They are premium. So I'm going to do that anyway. And so for a very small added cost, I get the added benefit of having some drought, tolerance built in, other biology in there that I can leverage. And I'm already going to do it. Most farmers are already going to be putting that on. So why not add that to it? And it's a no-brainer. There's other reasons too, but it's a type of insurance, right? It really is. If you're going to have drought stress in Oklahoma, which you're probably going to have every year, and if you don't have drought stress, you're certainly going to have heat stress. Mm-hmm. Why not build into some biology that we put on there and expand those roots, get the roots a little bigger, a little deeper, a little more able to gather water, and let's leverage that.
Yeah. Control what you can.
Control what we can, exactly.
Which is hard because, as a meteorologist, I put that drought monitor up each and every summertime, and you're in the red typically in Oklahoma, especially on the east side of the state. And so the brilliant chemists that are involved in agriculture have done so much. I mean, you witnessed it firsthand. You talked a little bit about how, as the CEO of Tyson, you saw a need for a company like Indigo to step in. Can you expand on that just a little bit for us?
Yeah, I'll talk about the publicly available things. And Tyson made a commitment to farm 2 million acres sustainably. And we'd made progress towards that, but for lack of programs, lack of resources, we needed someone like Indigo. There's a variety of consumer products that know that the emerging generations care about not only the foods that they eat and what's in them, but they care about the farms being managed in a way that soil is going to last and that their planet's going to last. And so there's a lot of interest. We have a program that we call Source, where someone, Nestle or Anheuser-Busch or Walmart, who we've all worked with to provide crops for, they reach out to us and say, where can we find people growing crops more sustainably? And we have programs we can introduce the farmers to, that when they make those changes, they can sell them to those parties at a premium.
Yeah, especially the younger generations, it's key to them. They want sustainable products. They've made it known. And so this is something that continues to be the trend that we've been watching here at RFDTV. Climate smart crops, low carbon intensity crops. Talk a little bit more, if you can, about Indigo's role in some of these programs.
Yeah, one thing that was really interesting is that when we were doing all the microbial science and understanding whether it's the fungus or bacteria, whatever is needed in that plant to make it thrive in a challenged environment or produce more crop or more yield. We learned a lot about what's going on in the soil, even beyond what we were looking for. We learned about how you can sink more carbon by changing practices. And so we offer programs to farmers where we can come in and provide a baseline on how much carbon's in their soil with the practice they're doing today. And it's really important. I want to compliment Tom. He's made all the changes that we propose and then some. And so he's kind of reached the upper limit of what he can capture from some of our programs, specifically around like carbon harvest. Right. He can still, when he grows his crop sustainably, still sell it through our Source program. But we also give farmers the option on a year-to-year basis, once they've started in our programs, to either sell through the Source program or carbon credits are actually really valuable right now. Yes. We give a vast majority of the money that the carbon credits sold for to the farmers. We've given $12 million to farmers. They've made it incrementally on just doing the right thing for their soil in the issuance of carbon credits. We just today, as a matter of fact, announced our third carbon harvest, where we've sequestered another about 150,000-ish metric tons of carbon. With the world wanting to sink carbon back into the earth, farmers are so good at this. There's so many things that they can do that sink it. But if you don't measure it before you make the change, and then make the change and record that, you can't take advantage of that sequestration. And so, part of what we want to do is just evangelize to have us come onto your farm and just get everything measured and a baseline set, so you can take advantage of those programs. But Indigo's role is the biological treatments are a fantastic additive to increase yield and provide a variety of stress prevention we talked about. But the other programs can also help farmers make additional money. And I think my single reason for being so excited about Indigo is the farmers get to win. The buyers get to win because they're getting the crops that they want, and the planet ultimately wins. I think it's a win-win-win.
Do you see a greater value down the line for these carbon credits? Do you think that's something that could gain value?
It's just showing up and to the right. Okay. Now we've seen dips. There's some folks who were claiming that they were sequestering carbon using some lesser science and some different approaches. And they've become public that they weren't doing the work that they were claiming to do. And look, we support anybody who's trying. We really do. But Indigo has really taken the high road. As a matter of fact, we wrote the standard, VM42. You can see it if you look it up on all the things you can do to sequester carbon in your soil. It has Indigo's name on it. We gave it away because we want more people to practice it. Even if it's not with us, we think there's a lot we can do to help you do that. But we really want this to become ubiquitous.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. If we have a little time, I do want to say that the real value that I have seen, now I'm not able to participate in the carbon program except on just a few acres, stuff that we bought later, that we just started farming later. But the stuff we've had for a long time, we can't participate. But the value that I see is that carbon that's in the soil. Organic matter holds water, right? 1% organic matter will hold another 25,000 gallons of water. So now we have raised our organic matter by 3 points on a lot of our farms.
Wow.
That's 75,000 gallons of water in an area of the world where water is key.
You think about Africa, you think about the implications of how you could be helping to feed a hungry country. This technology, a hungry world, this technology can go so far. And there's a reason why Indigo is the leading name. If you're interested, if this is something that you've been wondering about, I would say just go ahead, visit the website, indigoag.com. Call in with your questions as well. Before we go to break, we're going to open up our phone lines. The number is 877-731-6733. And when we come back, we'll talk more about how Indigo Ag can help you overcome some specific challenges on your farm, like drought. We'll be right back.
One thing you can predict about the season ahead is unpredictable conditions. Indigo's biological seed treatments help empower your crops to thrive through stress and improve yields.
We've been using Biottrinsic now for 5 years. We're making it through droughts and heat events like we were never able to before.
Biottrinsic by Indigo products help protect crops from the inside out. Visit indigoag.com/protection for more information or find it at your local retailer.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-575-3191. That's 1-800-575-3191, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Hi, I'm Tally, and I lost 85 pounds on Golo. I started Golo because I was diabetic, and my A1C and cholesterol were high. The minute I started taking the Golo release, I knew it's working. I was not hungry, and I did not have any cravings. Since losing weight with Golo, I'm healthier now than I've ever been, and my doctor is thrilled. Golo is so much more than weight loss. It's gonna give you your life back.
Welcome back to Rural America Live with Indigo Ag. Now, you at home, you're a big part of this conversation. We want to hear from you tonight. Our phone lines are open now. Give us a call at 877-731-6733, and you could be a winner if you do so of a Nomad charcoal barbecue grill and smoker. One lucky on-air caller will win tonight. It retails at $695. This is a fine piece of equipment, and you are sure to gain friends if you have it. All you have to do is call in and ask our panelists a question. You could be a winner tonight. We want to welcome in a few new guests now. Indigo Ag Senior Agronomist Jacob Linneman and Tennessee farmer Will Tipton. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
You bet. Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you.
Helping us field some questions tonight. And phone lines are already lighting up, so let's go to the phones where Dawn joins us now from Iowa. Thanks for joining us, Dawn. Go right ahead.
Hi there. I think you may have already answered my question, but I was just kind of curious. With Indigo, are you guys set up to where you can come out and individually help producers, or are you just basically online, or how are you going about helping the small farmer get involved with this?
Well, I'll take the first shot at it, and I'll pass it off to the folks who are doing the work in the field. Dawn, thanks for the question. We want to come to you in whatever way we can best reach you. We'd mentioned the website, certainly a lot of information there. We've got Jake here, who's an agronomist, who's ready to come out and help you in the field. We went alone for a while. We realized there's so much value in your local retailers and your agribusiness partners, and so we're working through them. So you should be able to ask for our products and our services, and they'll be able to come and help you. Jake, do you want to talk a little more about how we can reach?
Yeah, so locally there, if you're in Iowa, you could get online and look up the closest retailer next to you. Also, we have an agronomist in Iowa. We can more than happy put you in touch with them, and they can come out and visit with you and answer your questions. If you have a local retailer in mind as well, we can get you connected with them, and they can help you answer those questions as well.
Okay, great way to lead us off tonight. 877-731-6733. That leaves a line open for you, and you could be a winner tonight. So good luck. Thanks for that call, Dawn. Excellent question. IndigoAg.com is a great resource for you throughout the show as well. Tom, we've heard that you use Indigo's biological products on your fields. We've talked a little bit about that. What challenges were you facing, and talk about the results, how they were remedied?
Well, one is drought, obviously. And like I said before, I'm going to use a rhizobia product. So now we've got this product from Indigo that are stacked. There's actually 3 products in one. So that's what I've decided to use. And what I tell a lot of people is, why not? Why not develop a partner like Indigo? They've got so much information, and they've got an amazing team of biologists that are working on this stuff. So why not do that? And we did have some drought, and Jake knows all about it. Jake helped me quite a bit while I was trying to figure out kind of how to navigate it. 3 years we went in drought. And we had a lot of on-farm trials, and we tried it side by side. And we saw significant benefits, especially in our soybeans. We saw significant benefits in cotton also at one time. So, and really, whenever I was thinking about the biologicals, I started thinking about our native grass, which was my first love. I love going over there in the cows and taking care of native grass. And I saw, after really, really tough times, I saw native grass that was doing really well, and then I saw my cropland that wasn't doing so well. And I thought, what's going on? What's the difference? And what it was biology. That was what the difference was. So now we're trying to introduce biology that can really help build some stress relief into these plants, and it works.
I love it. And, you know, we get to bring an agronomist in on the conversation now, and you can help us really understand how this works, Jake. Why is M34 N13 working on Tom's soybeans?
So the product itself, M34, is the biological component. That's not the birdie rhizobia. And during July and August, not just in Oklahoma, but across the Great Plains where we produce our crops, we get hot and dry. And what it does is, when the plant gets to that stress period, it sends out signals, and the M34 reacts to those signals and helps the plant get through those stressful times by promoting more flower retention and flower production. So in the end, with more pods, we're looking at a higher yield versus not having the product on there at all.
Especially during that time frame when you have the high-setting soybean count coming in. Yeah, the key maturation period, as it were. You know what I'm talking about at home. And that's why this is so interesting, is because you have a little bit more control than your grandfathers did, than their fathers did when they were farming. You're an 8th-generation farmer. That's amazing. Tell me a little bit.
Right here in Tennessee.
Yeah, right here in Tennessee. You said near Memphis, right?
Yes, we're on Centennial Island. So, I'm like you said, I'm the 8th generation. The farm has been in the family since the 1830s. Hoping to help it go on many more generations.
I love that. Talk about how Indigo has been helping you on your operation.
We got involved with kind of the same reason Tom did, looking for just a way through those tough months. It's going to be hot and dry in August. It's just a guaranteed fact of life. And we have a few marginal fields on our farm that just, if you don't get a rain every week, they're going to burn up. So we've always been looking for something, and got involved and started using, I'm not sure exactly which product. I think it was before it was branded as Biottrinsic, but just Indigo generic, and we saw some results pretty quickly and decided to go ahead and adopt it on our whole farm, since we are 100% dry land within the Mississippi River system. It's
you're a bold man.
We can't turn on the water like most of our neighbors can, so we need any edge we can get.
Wow, okay, and this was the edge that you needed. I love hearing that. 877-731-6733. Maybe you have a question about how Indigo can provide the edge that you need on your operation. Give us a call tonight. Nora joins us now from Arkansas. Thanks for joining us, Nora. Go right ahead.
This is for Dean. What was your favorite vegetable that you ate at your farm in Kentucky?
Oh, Nora, that's really sweet. Cucumbers, for sure. There is nothing, it's a toss-up between cucumbers and tomatoes. There's nothing like walking out in the field with a wet wash rag and a salt shaker and pulling a tomato off the vine or a cucumber off the vine and salting a little bit.
Now, in Oklahoma, it's raw okra in my cover crops.
Oh, yeah.
I love going out, and whenever I'm checking cattle, I can grab some of that okra right off the plant. And it's so good when they're small and sweet. And the cattle don't eat much. It's just there as a beneficial, really. So I love the okra. That's Oklahoma.
How about you guys?
Favorite, I have to go with tomatoes. There's nothing better than a red ripe tomato right off the vine.
Absolutely. I got to go with that as well. Maybe some sweet corn, too, but the tomato goes all the way back to my grandmother on the farm, just eating one fresh right out of the garden.
Yeah.
Good question, Nora. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining our conversation. Maybe you have a question. We want to hear from you. You could be a winner tonight. 877-731-6733. Jake, we talked a little bit about what's working on Tom's farm specifically. Now let's expand on it a little bit. Tell us more, if you will, about the rest of the Biottrinsic products that are available to U.S. farmers.
Yeah, so we work with a bunch of retailers across the geography, and the products are focused along abiotic stresses. So environmental is what we talked with Tom. We also have a biofungicide that protects against 3 diseases in particular, which is Fusarium, Pythium, and Rhizoctonia. So we're really excited about that one getting in the marketplace. But our new one is a bionematicide, which we've seen a tremendous result with this past summer, and we're really excited to really push that one to get people to experiment and really see the benefit that that one can offer.
We had a small 20-acre plot on our farm this year of the nematicide.
Nice. What'd you see?
A lot of plant health.
So
deeper roots, reaching down, and less soybean cyst nematodes attached to the plant.
So really excited to get across not only corn and beans, but also in cotton as well.
Cotton.
Yes.
You need a lot of water to grow cotton, as we all know. And when it comes to drought...
That's Tom's neck of the woods.
Yeah. Tom knows a little something about that. My producer wants us to talk about the picture. So can we get that back up there for a moment? Here we go.
There we go.
You can see. If someone can explain the difference in this picture for me, please.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it. So the Biottrinsic treated I-405 is what we have labeled as our Z15, which is the bionematicide. And right next to it is the check. So it's a split planter, or in this case, it might be a split field. But basically what we're seeing is the plant growth difference in the treated versus the check. And visually right there, it's really compelling as the row spacing is filled in more with the treated versus the check, which indicates right off the bat that we're seeing a really nice performance with the product, controlling the nematodes that are present in the soil.
And you see this upon emergence. You start to see that difference right away, I would imagine, right?
Yes, because the nematodes will start attacking as soon as those roots are available, and heavy pressure causes stunting. Yep.
I might add to that a little bit. And as an agronomist, you know, he can tell you the science behind it. I look at that picture and I see a quicker canopy. I see less weeds. I see less soil temperature rise in that soil, which is going to save me some moisture. I see 2 or 3 things that I see. And if you can canopy quick, you're going to keep your weeds down and you're going to keep your moisture up. It's going to help.
So important. Really interesting. Just a fascinating conversation. I hear we're getting a lot of calls upstairs as well. Don joins us now from Idaho. Thanks for joining us, Don. Go right ahead.
Hey, yeah, I got 40 acres up here, and I raised a few bucking bulls. And anyway, the nitrogen and stuff cost me double what it cost 2 years ago. So I'm curious, how much does this stuff cost to put on my fields compared to the nitrogen stuff? I don't know the technical name of it.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So the product is sold per unit. So your population really depends on what your cost per acre is going to be. So in Oklahoma, we're dropping 90 to 100,000 population for soybeans. Cotton varies between 32 to 40, kind of depending on where you're at. But it's so the cost can vary. The product itself on any one of ours, we don't tout a nitrogen enhancement, but what we look at is an improved root mass. So there's more nitrogen or nutrient interception with the root mass alone. So we're not asking or we're not stating to displace any synthetic nitrogen. We're touting improved plant health, a bigger root zone, and biotic stress alleviation.
But for more questions on specific costs, would you just advise someone just check out the website and maybe make a call, maybe have an agronomist come out to somebody's property and take a look at what they're growing?
Online, we have our list of retailers and our partners we work with. Excellent. I would definitely highly recommend getting online, finding your closest partner, and giving them a call. If not, go ahead and jump on, and there is a locator for your closest agronomy or Indigo rep, and they can also answer the same questions.
Okay, so if you get an Indigo rep out on your property, on your operation, what happens next? How does that look?
For the Biottrinsic side, I mean, we'd like to talk to you about the product, what it does, and placement. Make sure that we get the right product for what your concerns that you have. On the sustainability programs like carbon, we're open to any number of questions. We field everything from no-till to cover crops, crop rotation. So really, depending on what your question is, we can offer advice on how to proceed. And in the case of cover crops, we really like to recommend talking with the NRCS and collaborating and working with a EQIP or CSP program.
Yes.
That way you can get those, some of those things, those changes that you want to make on your farm, you can receive some benefits from the NRCS from.
They could be a very helpful resource, and our farmers out there, they know exactly what to do. You know who your NRCS rep is, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Super helpful.
Yeah, I would just add, too, that your retail partners and your agronomists, phenomenally informed. We've actually invested a lot of money to try to understand where this works and where it doesn't. I talked a little bit about that before, about 2,000 trials.
Wow.
That we've done.
Wow.
And I emphasize that because, we start producing this thinking that the nematicide, just preventing nematodes, is the real benefit. And we find all these other benefits. We're trying to quantify those so we can put that information in the hand of our partners and our agronomists. So when they show up, they're obviously extremely well educated and very experienced, but we're also trying to give them all the information so they know exactly how to use the tools that we're providing.
Love it. Okay, if you have any questions right now, indigoag.com, but even easier, just call and ask, because we are on live and you have a panel of experts from Indigo Ag right here, farmers who utilize the products from Indigo Ag religiously. Appreciate your testimonies tonight, and everybody learns from one another, from our experiences, and we want to hear from you as well. Maybe you have an experience with Indigo Ag that you'd like to share. 877-731-6733. Will, you just had your best wheat year ever. Tell us a little bit more about that and how it happened for you.
That might be a little overblown, but we certainly had a good wheat yield, and we had, I believe, Indigo on every single bit of it. I think we've had some form of an Indigo product on our wheat for 5 or 6 years now. It's very simple. It's very cost effective. There's really no reason to leave it out. And with the wheat, it's kind of opposite of the beans. You want to get that plant stand, and you want to be able to make it through your cold and wet months, opposite of the soybeans. So I feel like you get that quick tillering and a lot more root action when you have the treated crop.
Mm-hmm. I love hearing how it's a no-brainer as well, because doesn't it just put confidence in the work that you're doing? Because it's not a no-brainer for you.
Absolutely.
You've had to utilize your brain quite a bit to get this product to where it is.
Yeah.
But isn't that nice to hear that from an 8th-generation farmer sitting next to you?
You can spend a lot more on seed treatments that are more of a degradation than something that's building up soil health like the Indigo product. I mean, you can go literally just kill your soil to death with neonicotinoids and fungicides and all sorts of things. And I prefer to put something on that's going to help versus, hurt.
Both of us have spent generations killing stuff.
Absolutely.
We try to figure out what we need to kill so that we can keep the plant alive. And really, it's a mind shift. It's a Romans 12:2, renewing of the mind. So that we now what do I want to keep alive? I want to keep things alive. And the beneficials far outweigh the negative things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really do. So let's keep things alive. Let's add life instead of death.
With growing cotton, the first time you go out to spray for plant bugs, that starts the sequence. Mm-hmm. You're spraying every week for plant bugs until the bowl's open.
Or start with a really healthy plant with good biology that can withstand those pressures and not have to spray them.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the mindset change.
And continue the building blocks in your soil for years to come. Right. Okay.
That's right.
Again, those phone lines are open, so call in with your questions. We want to hear from you. The number is 877-731-6733, and we're still looking for our lucky winner tonight of a Nomad charcoal barbecue grill and smoker valued at just under $700. One lucky on-air caller will be the owner. All you got to do is ask our panelists a question. We'll be right back with your chance to win and more with Indigo Ag right after this.
One thing you can predict about the season ahead is unpredictable conditions. Indigo's biological seed treatments help empower your crops to thrive through stress and improve yields.
We've been using Biottrinsic now for 5 years. We're making it through droughts and heat events like we were never able to before.
Biottrinsic by Indigo products help protect crops from the inside out. Visit indigoag.com/protection for more information or find it at your local retailer.
You did it. You helped us raise over $1.3 million for FFA during the National Give FFA Day. Record amounts of giving broke the $1 million mark for the first time ever. The nearly 1 million members of the FFA across the country will benefit from your donation. Thank you, and a special thanks to all the FFA partners who led donation efforts within their companies. We couldn't have done it without each and every one of you. Thank you.
On the next Wood songs, Ron Block is the incredible banjo player for Alison Krauss and Union Station. He's here supporting an award-winning singer-songwriter from Dublin, Ireland, Aoife Scott.
It'll be a perfect day.
On the same show as the national hammer dulcimer champion, Ted Yoder.
This is Juana's smile. And this is her John Deere 1 Series tractor. It gets straight to work and easily connects to everything she needs to break new ground and turn a raw piece of land into a place her family can call home. Every 1 Series tractor is built to put you at ease. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/getintheseat.
Welcome back to the conversation. This is Rural America Live with Indigo Ag. Our phone lines are open, and we want to hear from you. The number is 877-731-6733. Don't miss your opportunity to win that Nomad Charcoal Barbecue Grill and Smoker. One lucky on-air caller. It will be yours. All you have to do is call in and ask a question. Good luck to you. We're going to announce the winner in just moments. 877-731-6733. You still have time to win. Susan joins us now from Georgia. Thanks for joining us, Susan. Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm from Southwest Georgia, and we have cotton and peanuts. Does the Indigo have any treatment for peanuts?
Yes, actually. So in Oklahoma, we have a few peanut acres left, but we are actually going to run a trial on some peanuts. I think we're going to run the M34 because it is a legume plant, and so I think that's the one that we're going to go ahead and trial it on. We haven't done it before, so this will be the first year that we're going to take a look at it.
Okay, thank you so much for that call, Susan. We appreciate it. 877-731-6733. We'll go back to the phones in just a moment. But Dean, we were talking a little bit about this earlier. You bring quite a wide variety of background into the CEO position at Indigo Ag. And one of the things that I'm most impressed by when it comes to your profile is that you were the CEO of Tyson during the pandemic, one of the most challenging times for the company, and you saw the company through one of those challenging times, came out on top. We all believe in Tyson now, more so than we did going into it. We saw them generate food when nobody else really was continuing to make food. We were all so scared during the pandemic. Tyson continued to produce. People kept showing up for work, and you were leading that ship. Now, you're in charge of Indigo Ag. A little bit different here, what you're doing, but tell us a little bit about what's going on with demand from consumer brands when it comes to sustainability? Because you learned a lot from Tyson that you're able to bring to the table at Indigo, just based on that sustainability key.
Well, I think Tyson's mentality is a lot of what you all have as farmers, where your name's on the gate. The family has so much belief and trust in the employees. So anything that happens with that brand happens to the family. And obviously lots of respect for them. And one of the most important aspects for a brand is trust and integrity. Mm-hmm. And the investment that Indigo has made in the science and really understanding what's happened, for example, in our carbon program, it gives a farmer confidence that when they make practice changes, we'll accurately record the soil. And we're now proving that as we get more crops in, we're going back and looking at our models and how we're calculating carbon. We're finding that there's even more carbon being sequestered than we expected, making more credits get issued, making farmers more money. And when we think about providing sustainably grown crops in our source program to CPG companies like Tyson Foods, if they have put it on their label that this is sustainably grown, finding out 5 years down the road that it wasn't, or that something wasn't done correctly, or carbon wasn't sequestered, could be a huge hit to any CPG brand. Their reputation is everything. That's what brand building is all about. And so it's really the integrity component and scale. I can say this to pretty much any farmer that's listening, that there is demand for your crops to be grown more sustainably. Mm-hmm. We have a number of purchasers coming to us and saying, we'll pay a premium. We need attributes for our products. And so there's really no limit to the value proposition, but the integrity, the scientific integrity, is usually the underpinning to everything that we do.
It's so interesting as well, because that's a big part of what you do, and it's great because that's what consumers are looking for. But Tom, you put it out there for us. This is about profitability, really. Absolutely. When it comes down to it.
That's exactly right.
What makes dollars make sense. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's a great indirect benefit, it sounds like. But this is feeding into your bottom line. Talk more about that, if you will.
Well, if you're going to describe sustainability, you got to stay in business to be sustainable, right?
That's right.
So you need to make a profit. And that includes Indigo. Indigo needs to make a profit also. But, man, they are so good with how they share these carbon funds that come in. We get 3/4 of those. Indigo's only keeping 25%.
Wow.
My crop shares that I do, I have to do all the work and I get 2/3 of the crop. Indigo's doing all the work and they're only getting 1/4 of this carbon crop. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's somebody I can align with. And then back to source a little bit and value-added products. What I have found in cotton is that the quality is huge. To people that are buying cotton, they want high quality. And this past year and the year before, we've had really, really high quality cotton, and we're not using a lot of fertilizer at all. We're really, really dropping those rates. Nitrogen rates on 1,000-pound cotton of 30 pounds of N. And those that grow cotton know that's not very much. Mm-hmm. But as part of that, whenever we deliver our cotton to the gin manager called me this year, and he goes, what's going on? What are you doing different? And I started talking to him about regenerative ag. Took about 2 minutes for him to get so bored he told me to shut up. And he said, I don't want to hear all that. Just keep doing what you're doing. Because what had happened was, and it's just leveraging God's creation. I just can't give the Lord enough credit for this. It's not anything that I'm not that smart. But I do understand that our Lord has got a good design. So I'm going to follow that. So by following that, we develop we grow a crop that is premium. And we got 5 cent positive basis this year on our cotton. In years past, whenever there really wasn't, I wasn't known as being this grower of high quality cotton, I was giving away a lot of premium that I didn't even know I had until they came and they said, well, we need that. We need that. So that's 9 cents better than the norm. My norm in the past has been 4 or 5 cents under per pound. And now I'm at 5 cents over, all because of quality. Amazing. And the quality comes because of quality soils.
And you're competing with countries like Egypt when it comes to cotton. So that's very interesting to hear you saying that, because this is a global market that we're in now. Okay, Todd from South Carolina joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Todd. Go right ahead.
Yes, I appreciate you taking my call. Could somebody explain carbon credits?
Sure. We can take turns at it. But so there's 2 processes. One is establishing your practices today and how much carbon you have in your soil. And then 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you continue to assess how much carbon the practice changes have sunk into the soil. And that's measured in metric tons. You take that, and once it's verified and certified, we can take that to an accreditation agency. They verify that we followed all the appropriate standards and practices. And then that's traded on an exchange, or it can be traded much like you would trade your crops. And the going rate for a metric ton of carbon is about $60 to $80 right now. Wow. And continuing to increase.
That's gone up quite a bit since 2 years ago, which I think it was at $15 when we started.
Well, and you'd asked about Tyson Foods as well. Many of the CPG companies have made commitments to be net zero in 2030, 2035, 2040, and they will have to do a lot of work working with sustainable cotton and things to take carbon out of their supply chain. But there will be some carbon production that they can't mitigate in their own supply chains. So they have to buy these carbon sinks that you all are producing on your farm. They have to pay for that carbon to be sequestered that they're otherwise producing. Did you want to add anything there, Jake?
You touched on everything I was going to say, Dean, so that was pretty solid.
Okay.
I'll say with the carbon program, which Tom didn't have this luxury when he was going through it 25 years ago, but as a new farmer, but part of an old farm, you're set in your ways. This is how Dad did it. This is how my grandfather did it. It's really hard to change what you've done your whole life, like going out and, tilling in the fall and the spring. And it's really nice to have somebody that sees you doing the change, even if it is making you more money. It's nice to have someone else kind of hold your hand and go through it and give you access to other people's experiences that are trying to do the same thing that you are, trying to, make the world a better place, I guess.
Well, one thing that I hope you've experienced lately is we've had to put a lot of work into the digital tools so that we can pre-populate data. We onboarded a farmer the other day in about 30 minutes.
I will say I single-handedly got the cascading confetti added to the program when you finally file a field correctly, because I've been on the first year over with somebody with IT for an hour and a half, and they're like, let me get back to you, and they finally well, now you get your congratulations.
Well, we want to make it easier for you and throw in some confetti whenever we do.
That's right.
Well, this has been a very enlightening conversation. Todd, South Carolina, sir, you are our winner. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody who called in, we appreciate you so much. What a great show. I want to give everybody an opportunity to share their final thoughts. Let's start with you, Dean.
Final thoughts. Thank everyone for the time and the interest. Thanks for the team for joining. Thanks for putting on a great show. We're going to have 30 new products in the next 30 months.
Wow.
And you're going to see more and more research being published. We're sharing detailed science so that you can believe in the products that we're producing and bet on us with your farms and see hopefully the results that the folks here have seen. I can't really thank you for what you do every day. I know how much effort goes in, and we want to make it easy. We're not only investing in the science, we're not investing in the biological products, we're investing in making the tools so much easier to use and help you capture more value for the carbon that you're sinking as well. So please reach out and let us know how we can help you help yourself.
I love how transparent you are. It's almost as if you're asking for competitors to step up because you're ready to challenge them at Indigo Ag.
Well, we have a big task ahead of us, and I think some of you are ahead taking care of your soil, and we don't have to win to win. We all win whenever anybody makes these practice changes, but we think we're trying to make it simple, easy, and operate with integrity. So when you make the changes, or where you put the product on the seed and you put it in the ground, you can have confidence that it's going to yield the results that we promise.
I love that. Mm-hmm. All right. Final thoughts for you. We only have probably 30 seconds.
All right. I just want to share that some of these products work really well where they're designed. So get with your retailer, get with your local people, and figure out where they fit. And where they fit really well. And where they don't, you just don't need to do it. I think that there's really a push for some of the competitors in the biological space to sell a bunch of stuff that they're just trying to make money on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
These products, if you match the right product with the right environment, it works.
I love it. Okay, Will, you got about 20 seconds.
Honestly, I don't have much to add to that other than it has been a great experience, working with our local agronomist, P.R. Morse is who I deal with. He's his counterpart down my way, and he's just been a lot of help and a nice sounding board for if you want to try something new.
Jake, you're a brilliant man. What are your final thoughts for us tonight?
I encourage producers to experiment with something new, whether it's a new practice, it's a product you've been thinking about. Just start small, experiment, and see what it does for you, and just learn.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. I learned quite a bit tonight. I'm sure everybody at home did as well. IndigoAg.com is the website to visit if you have questions. And remember, we're doing shows just like this to make sure that you are aware of all the companies out there, just like Indigo Ag, that are doing things that can help you become more profitable. Thank you so much for joining us here on Rural America Live. From all of us here at RFDTV, wishing you and your family a beautifully blessed evening.